Are you trying to reinvent yourself? Are you trying to grow your empathy? Well, then subscribe to the channel because those are the two biggest takeaways that I get from listening to stories like this.
Gosh, just wealth looked weird to me, right from the start, I suppose. So, using the money just for status, for love, right from the get go, I realized, what was going on with that. And it was confusing. It never felt
Where
right.
did you see that?
With my parents, really, the like excitement they would have to purchase something, and then the malaise that went with having it. I suppose it wasn't exact, didn't do what it needed to do. And then, just when my father would get upset with me or whatnot, there wasn't an apology, there was an item. I remember being sick at a young age, and him yelling at me for being sick, and I was always real inquisitive, just like, well, why are you mad at me? I'm just a little girl who's sick, and not to say sorry, but just the next day he came with a little red recorder, and I was like, is this an apology? Just knowing that at such a young age, and I remember it really well. So still struggling with it present day. I'm raising 2 children right now, and they're like, we hate money, and I'm like, uh-oh. What have I done? What have I taught? And like, how will they survive? So,
You described money as the redheaded stepchild that's locked in the closet.
right. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, it's just, something that I just don't want to deal with. And it is paralyzing sometimes.
If I'm to understand this correctly, you said that you started in Pittsburgh, your parents worked in the steel mill, they didn't have any money.
Mhm.
Then you moved to Detroit, your father's working in the automotive business, and then he
Boom.
did he made so all of a
Mhm.
sudden you did have money, yes?
Yeah, but I still, I mean, they still lived in scarcity. It was such a interesting transition to watch. Like they would buy like 3 shop vacs because, it was on sale. They would, we had so many lamps and rugs, expensive rugs. It just, but they were a good price. Almost to the point of hoarding. I mean, it was so much stuff that it was like, I don't know, somewhere down the line, ideals developed that, I don't want this. I don't want a lot of stuff. It doesn't seem like they're happy once they get it. It seems like they're angry or fighting over these things and these material things. And so I've just been living this life where, I've never really found like the career that makes sense to me. Why would I stress out? Why would I, work myself to the bone for someone else to make more money so that I can make this, mediocre, just, or even.
Hey, real quick, if you are the kind of earth monster who probably needs therapy, but you'd rather listen to a podcast, subscribe. You found your people. This is the Earth Monster Podcast, the storytelling show that celebrates vulnerability and speaks to the darkest, messiest little parts of your heart about the lies that we tell ourselves every day, the stories that we use to get out of bed, the fantasies that we let propel our lives. I call these things necessary delusions, and I really believe that we all hold on to these essential core ideas about ourselves that have been completely not validated by like fact or the outside world. They're just sort of things that grow in our heads, and they drive our actions over the course of decades. I've talked to all kinds of people about this, and I'm really excited to share my conversation today with Meg. Meg responded to this ad that I post on Craigslist in the San Diego area. And as you can probably already tell, we're talking finances. So Meg has a business. You should check it out. It's called Broth for All. You can see it at brothall.com. And let's go back to my conversation with Meg.
I got my degree in social work, so it's like I never really made a lot of money. So it didn't make sense to me. I got married. My husband at the time was making a lot of money, and it just, again, like I would take back anything he bought me, any item, anything material. I don't want this, like, And we went to therapy, and the therapist said, please just let him buy you things. And I was like, I don't want them though. Like, I mean, and I'm supposed to conform and I'm supposed to pretend and say thank you. It just, there's so many feelings mixed up with this status.
Hmm.
And I don't know where to go at this point in my life. I'm currently going through a divorce. The money probably, was obviously one of the factors, might have been one of the biggest ones.
Hmm.
We were married 12 years, and he told me we had problems, and I'm like, everyone at this age and stage has problems because, it's kind of midlife, and we're just like, all right, like, what's happiness? What
Hmm.
makes it worth it?
Talk about the money when you were a kid. I mean, Meg, I don't want to jump too far ahead here, I guess, but can we agree that you're the common denominator in these situations? I mean, even you describing money as the redheaded stepchild locked in a closet, you were like, I think that's the easiest way to see it. And I was like, I don't even know that I understand what you mean. I just think that like when you describe like your father, like, oh, almost like apologizing with a gift or something like that, but maybe the emotional part doesn't come along with it. Can you think back to the earliest memory?
I mean, I guess that's it. That red little radio was that first memory, and it was the material in lieu of the emotion. I'm all emotion, I mean, really, it's, not always good, but that's the currency I operate with. I want love, I want connection. That's the world I live in, and I've always lived in that world, and this isn't it seems. So, I just wonder where I live a lot.
How old were you, do you think, when so you said you got sick, your
I had
father
chicken
was
pox. I remember it really well. Yeah. I mean, or so I think I remember it well, right? Like, I mean, this is what I hold on to. This is the story that
tell
I
me,
can.
chickenpox. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was sick and complaining. I think I had like thrown up because, I think he actually gave me too much candy, bubble gum. And I ate a bunch of that and then threw it up all over. And he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You don't know how to take care of a sick kid, apparently." No, I don't know what I said.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember, crying and being upset and being like, I don't understand what I did wrong. Like I'm sick. This is what sick people do, right? They
Yeah.
throw up. I don't know. And then I remember not wanting the radio because I was mad that he was mad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just emotion that I guess lights the fire that starts the story.
How old were you?
I was in second grade. I mean, we used to have POC parties, so I remember it like
Mm-hmm.
it was like a thing. Everybody got together. We got the chicken pox, and then
Do you think that this was that like the pattern with your father or with your family of like there wasn't an apology, but maybe there was a gift?
there was never an apology. Sure, yeah, and I'm not even. I think the gifts even started to dwindle towards the end. As cause and effect came into being, and they realized that the gifts weren't changing anything. Right? They were making it worse.
And then what about the what about like money in the house? Like as you were growing up, like your first job?
Ice cream. I had a great career in ice cream. I started at Saunders in Troy, Michigan, TCBY yogurt, made it to Dairy
Mhm.
Queen.
You were just working like behind the counter kind of
Yeah,
thing?
I mean, I started at like 13. I started younger than that. Like, I mean, I always liked working. I definitely always liked working.
Mm-hmm.
The teenagers at like Custard Creek would like go and smoke cigarettes and they'd let us serve ice cream, and pay us an ice cream. And so that's where it started for me. I always had a good work ethic, but again, like, you know, never looked at the checks, never paid attention, never, just hoarded the money really because I never wanted anything.
Hmm.
I was the only kid to graduate college with $10,000. They were like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I had seven roommates. I paid $100 for rent, 4 years of college. I'm thrifty. Like and it's funny. Like they're like people who get off on scarcity, right?
Yeah.
It's like I love like using everything in my house and till I just have like a head of cabbage and like I'll eat that, just that, to like feel like, yes, I did it. I have nothing now. And then to rebuild. Like it's this process I've been going through my whole life. And I'm
Hmm.
trying to make a business out of it in some respect. So, I started Broth for All, and it's the base. It's broth, right? What can we throw into it to make it something? Like how can you create something out of nothing.
Meg, can you describe the business to me? I'll be honest, I did look a little bit. I thought that your aesthetics were super compelling to me, and I was like, even the name, I was like, what is this broth? Oh, it's interesting. And then I'm reading it, and I was like, is it broth or is it a service?
And again, it is both. It's, ideally in doing this whole, make money thing. I don't want to do it for someone else anymore. So I'm getting creative. I'm trying to make this world work for me. How do I do that? What do I like to do? I make broth all the time, and it goes with the scarcity, right? I
Mm-hmm.
gotta use, I gotta buy that chicken raw. I gotta trust that chicken. I got to use the apples that I cut earlier for my kids and put those cores in the carcass. I mean, everything. So, I mean, it's sacred to me. My friend was like, "Why don't you just buy a chicken from Costco that's already made?" I'm like, "Cause it's the ritual, right?" So that's what it is. I mean, and I'm having trouble trying to let people know what exactly it is, but it's a work in progress. I've been doing in home care. I've been doing home support, human services my whole life. No
Mm-hmm.
one's ever wanted me. I'm like a Jehovah's Witness. I mean, just knocking on the door. Hi, I'm here to help. Slam. It's like, we don't want we don't want CPS. I'm not CPS. I'm a mental health worker. I'm trying to help. I'm a reunification manager. I'm a social worker. I'm this and that. But like, nobody wants to admit they want that. So I guess, I'm trying to create this service that goes under, hey, she's just coming over with bra, she's just giving you some soup, she's we just hired her because we thought you need some comfort, some warmth. And then again, like this, it's an entertainment service, right? It's not help, it's not support, so I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, open and like, may I, always asking for consent and whatnot. I have a curriculum I'm developing, but it's what happens when you're throwing things into the pot. And it might be good and it might be bad. I brought it up the other day, and they're like, well, is it good? I'm like, it's up to us, isn't it?
Meg, what does it mean about you as a person to be so thrifty? What does it mean about you to not buy any new food in the house until you finish, the last head of cabbage?
I think it's a gratitude in some respect. I'm grateful for every onion, every, leaf of spinach, every, every little morsel of every little thing. And then when I, restock, I'm like, oh my God, look at this beautiful onion. I can't believe I get to bring you home. Like, I'm really, really grateful for everything I have. I am. But again, where my preacher lives is that I don't know, it just doesn't seem to mesh. It doesn't seem to be enough, I guess, to be grateful for an onion.
Um, well, I guess it makes me wonder. It's so funny. It's like sort of perfect that you've got this work ethic. I'm like, what was your first job? And you can go right into it, but you're like, I never looked at the check. So I'm like, well, where did that mentality come from? Where did this diversity to earning or money start? Like I can get it with your parents a little bit, but it feels more extreme. It feels like you're going out of your way to sort of like put in all the effort, but almost like not even take what you're owed for it or
Hate
something.
it. That is, you should see me ask for money. Like, so being an entrepreneur right now, that's my biggest struggle. And being like, I want to do everything for free, and it's just, I love the idea of time banking, but, it never really took off. It's been around. It's still around. There are communities that do it, but like,
What is time banking?
just you bank your time, so it's like, oh, you can take care of my mother, great, I can fix your car. That makes more sense to me in like that barter system than tangible paper. That I can't tell you how much money I've lost to, like, if somebody gives me $100 bill, I feel like I just go like this, like, it's just, where did I put that? It's like repel.
I think you used the word hate.
No,
I think you did. I think you said
I
I
think I
hate it.
did. I did. I think I don't want to say that anymore. I'm trying to change my wiring. I
And
really
now you're
don't want to.
saying you get $100 and you just go, where'd it go?
No, no. I mean, I physically can't hold on to it. Like, I'm so frazzled. I'm so frazzled. Like, money just, it does. Like, my husband and I sold something a long time ago, trailer, and they were like, can we pay you in cash? And I was like, and I dropped so much money. Like,
Like out of your hands?
yeah, it was just like I couldn't even hold it. Like, it was just,
Why?
I'm trying to figure it out myself, Earth Monster.
I mean, I'll say this, like I'm trying to relate to it, right? So um math is not my strong suit. Never has been my strong suit. I could tell you about, math class in second grade of just like sitting there staring at the page. It might as well have been, Mandarin I was trying to read or something, and just like
Nothing.
that is frazzled to
Hmm.
me, right? And it's not rational or reasonable, right? And so I find ways to make it work for myself, anyway. So I guess I'm trying to relate in that way, but I'm wondering, like,
That's perfect.
is that perfect? Is that kind of how it feels?
I mean, there's no rational reason to it for me, right? That's the redheaded stepchild analogy. Like, why would you put that, child in the closet that, just because she's got a different color hair? Like, why would you, um, you
Meg, I'm
know,
sorry. I can't with this analogy. I don't get it. It doesn't even make sense for, I think, for what you're talking. I'm like, what do you mean the
all right,
color of
I'll
her
stop.
hair? I
It's
guess
true.
what I'm wondering is unpack the negative feeling for me. Somebody puts a bunch of money in your hand and you feel frazzled. Tell me about that feeling.
Because I guess I pride myself on that scarcity, It's that way of life that I want, right?
So far from the world that we live in. You're talking about time. What was it?
Banking.
Time banking, right? So I get the idea, but like, let's agree, like, if you find someone to do that with you, it's going to be a small community. I mean, it just is not the world that we live in, right? But then at the same time, I'm sort of like, well, look, you've been through a whole life here. You started working when you were,
As soon
hardly a
as I could.
teenager. Hardly a teenager. It sounds like you're not afraid of hard work,
Mhm.
right? It's which would mean to me that you can make money, right?
I
You got
guess,
a
and that's where it
family.
kind of lies too. I feel like in my career, like every career I've had has kind of been a stressful job that doesn't make a lot of money, right? So I mean, it lives there too. It's just like it's not enough, it doesn't equal out like the stress. I would rather live in scarcity. I would rather be Walden. I would rather be Henry David Thoreau. That was one of the first like books I attached to. I can't even remember who put that in my hand, but I was like, and I remember not understanding it, but just loving it. Like it was so over my head when he started to talk economics, obviously, but I knew he was fighting the Industrial Revolution, and I knew, this was where we became. I like you're going the wrong way. He told you way back when, you know.
Right, but Walden Pond sounds peaceful to me. What you're describing sounds stressful to me.
Well, that's the world we live in, right? Walden doesn't exist today. Nobody's gonna go.
But
Nobody
I
can
think
do
that it
that.
sounds even more stressful to be working and then not keeping track of the money, and then like when you have to go and pay your bills or pay your whatever, like, is that sort of that like caught up in all of these feelings too? Like, what is that? You must be you're dealing with money constantly, no?
I mean, I hoard it and I don't spend it, so I have it, right?
Oh, okay.
I've never.
So having enough is not stressful to you. You feel like you have enough because you feel like you're hoarding it.
Well, I mean, I try to live in abundance, right? I try to live in a way that, like, I live within my means. And I mean, I can keep track of it to a certain, I mean, to a certain degree, but my main MO is to just not spend it,
Yeah.
and then I always have it, Again, I was the only kid who graduated, but I didn't go on spring break. I didn't buy a car. I didn't, I mean, I just didn't. And then
Hmm.
I resented people, So, and that's where I guess I left social work and I'm trying to create something that's a little bit more fun, a little more cheeky. And then hopefully, I can gain that confidence where I'm like, I live in this world and this is how we operate. I don't know where to go with it really. But I know that again, this is the currency we use. And that fight is fruitless.
Where are you coming to me from? What ad did you
San
see?
Diego,
San Diego. Cool. Well, that's a
which
nice place to live.
too nice. Too nice. So again, with the divorce and my husband, who was the main breadwinner, this is a whole reconfiguration. So I have to figure out a new relationship with money.
Yeah. And you said your kids hate money.
They said it the other day, and that's when I was like, uh-oh. I have to regroup because and I mean, my son was like, well, I don't want to be the breadwinner. And I was like, I hear you, buddy. I didn't either, like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't, that's my relationship with money. And we've had some great conversations, just about what his dad's doing. And I say, I'm grateful that your dad loved it. I'm so grateful that he wanted it so bad because one of us had to. But yeah, so I'm trying to rewire that instant story that latched onto my son's little wiring, and I'm like, okay, let's, because I don't hate money and I don't want to say that ever again, and I'm sorry I started it with that.
I'm not trying to shame you for saying it. I mean, it is. I think it is good for you to sort of clock that, right? Because I don't know. I believe in that. You are sort of putting it out there that way, and I agree with you. It's like you don't really want to. I don't know. It's maybe like evident of like your bigger feelings about it or whatever. But
And people tell me all the time, money's king, money's king, money's king. I don't like the sound of that. Like, it just,
what do you value?
connection.
Who do you have your closest connections with?
I have so many. I have so many, but my son's turning 13, and the connection, my firstborn, is just everything I've ever envisioned, and it's the best. But I mean, I'm in touch with friends from high school. God, I'm in touch with friends from kindergarten. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
you meet me, it's really rare that you won't know me later on in life, even if a lot of time has passed. Connection with me is easy, even if we haven't seen each other in decades. It's what I value most. It's what fills me the most too. Give me a
How do you
hug, not 100.
how do you keep up with your friends? What are the best actionable ways to do that?
And I'll let a text message go forever and not respond, and I get a lot of flack for that. They're just, didn't you see that? I'm like, yeah, but it was a statement. There's no question there, or whatnot. Or there was a question. It's like, I save all my responses up for our phone calls. I love talking on the phone. Always have. I was that like teenager, with the string line that was talking
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
What kind of gift giver are you?
Acts of service. I'll like clean your house. I'll vacuum your car. I love acts of service. And then, I'm big on, I mean, my love languages, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I guess I was sort of like getting at that, but I was interested in like you sort of described what it's like you to get a gift,
Hmm.
but I wonder like how it is for you to give a gift when someone's birthday
It's,
comes up or someone you have to show up with the wrapped present. What is that? What's it like? Is it really?
yeah, yeah, that's
Why?
exactly. I don't know. Like, it's like,
What
I
is
don't
it?
think
You're
my,
so describe that. You're like holding.
yeah,
You're like you can't even look at it. You're like
yeah.
giving it, but you don't want to see it.
I want to throw it at them and run out the room.
Why?
Unless it's soup, I mean, if it's like, I'm just saying, like, acts of service, if it's something I make, or like, hey, I just redecorated your room. I remember I did that for my former, when we first met. He didn't get it, but his room was so messy, and like everything, like I just feng shuied it, and I was like, isn't this great now?
But
Anywho,
so
so yes, when I buy something, so again, it's the going on Amazon, I get overwhelmed, and I'm just like, what represents this person? And is it this plastic toy? Like my kids, I'm just like, no, it's not this plastic toy. Like, I don't want, it was a
yeah.
mixtape. Those are gone. And sending a Spotify playlist isn't the same, So I don't know. There's just like nothing out there that really grabs me. I bought a Tiffany's bracelet for my best girlfriend when she was leaving San Diego one time, and I was like somewhat proud of that gift because she had said she always wanted it, and at that time she didn't have it, and I was like, I spent money on this, and I was like, yeah. And that's like the only gift I can remember being like confident in,
Hmm.
you know.
Um, Meg, I'm just gonna say what I think, right? So normally I try to find that little kernel from childhood and then sort of figure out like how does this person carry that idea with them through their life, right? And never did I expect the conversation to be so financial. Um
Right.
not doing it wrong. I think it's really interesting, actually. I do
I
think that
do
I'm
too.
like a little perplexed though. I'm like, I keep trying to figure it out. And I don't know, there's like a piece that I'm missing or something. But what's interesting is that I actually relate to you a lot. Like I am that talker. That's how I relate to people big time. I'm also will leave a. I'm not saying I'm the best friend. I've actually feel like I've been a horrible friend at times, but I can like just leave the text unread. But then when I'm there, I'm like right there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the gift giving thing. Just going to share this. I think that you could maybe take something from it. So I was in a relationship with someone who was an awesome gift giver.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Gave the most thoughtful gifts,
Right on. Yeah,
and
I know those
I
people.
and I was the classic gift giver who got you the thing that I would want, right? You'd be like, "What do I want this for?" And it's like, I don't know. When I was in the store, I that's what stuck out to me. So so anyway, the relationship ended, and honestly, I really was thinking about my parents. I thought, wow, my parents have had a couple years here of really great gifts from me because she kept getting these great gifts for them, right? And I had to figure out how do I get I can't let that stop. So here are my three questions, right? When I'm getting somebody a gift, I always answer these three questions: indoors or outdoors, which one do they prefer? In a group or by themselves?
Mhm.
And then the third one is, what is their guilty pleasure? And then I
I like
answer
that.
those three questions for the person. And I
Yeah.
have transformed myself as a gift giver. And I love giving gifts now. I
Give
love it.
me give me the last gift that you were so proud of.
Oh, I just gave one. I just gave two. I gave my mom for her birthday. My mom's the hardest to buy for because kind of doesn't want anything. She's retired. She really loves puzzles, but the puzzle thing is far gone. You can't get, she's got all the puzzles she.
Yeah.
Um, what do you get for her? She loves sitting on her front porch.
Mhm.
And so I found these
Indoor, outdoor.
right, and I found these little glass like globes. They're solar balls, so they charge themselves in the sun, and then they're like little lanterns because she'll sit out on the porch like at night, and they're these really pretty glass solar lanterns,
That is.
basically.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
But anyway, I came up with those three questions, but it's been super effective for
They
me.
rock. Those are good. I can, yeah, I mean, I can like get three people right now who I know
But
what their
it's like
guilty
also, I
pleasure is.
guess the reason that I'm sharing it is because if you're such a talker, you're such a listener, which
Huh?
means you've got all the information that you need to be.
But listen here. See, I also, though, like, so I don't think I need anything, right? I don't think anyone else needs anything either. Like, I just, with all the manufacturing and stuff, I do love twinkle lights, though, and I will get them for everyone. But, like I don't know. It's materialism, right? It's materialism.
Yeah, but I think, and I use the word delusion in my sort of like cheeky way, but I will say when I hear you talk about this, I think that's delusion, Meg. It's not that you don't need anything. It's that it almost sounds like when you're talking about it, I'm wondering if you feel like you deserve it.
Oh, I love it.
Because
Yes.
it's like, do you feel like that, or you just
Well,
love that
I
idea?
mean, you just dropped it. I'm going to have to unpack that a little. But,
Yeah.
perhaps it is like the existential kink, right? What you want, is actually what you don't. And, you're fighting yourself on it. So it could be I've been living this life my whole life that, I don't want it. I don't want it when, yeah, this alternative reality is I do, right? I want to be lavished in roast beefs. Like I want 20 roast beefs and 14 house. No, see, I'm getting angry with it. Like I just can't even be serious about it.
Yeah, but we all have things that we like. So it would almost be like an interesting brainstorm because, and I only say this because you're so extreme on this side of it, right? Like you can't even start the joke with being like, "No, no, I don't like it. 14 houses, I hate it." It's like
Just,
it's almost like an interesting brainstorm to be like, I mean, you have things that you like, right? What if you were to like try to max out those ideas? If I were the kind of materialistic person who expressed themselves through material gifts, which ones would be right for me or something like that?
and I mean, they're popping in my head right now.
Like what?
I know what they are.
What are they?
Um, I would want a Peloton because I love listening to them. Like, I just think it's like gospel. I love the people. I love exercising. I love bikes. I would get a new bike because my bike keeps getting stolen. So, like, top of the line. Yeah, there are things I want. Absolutely.
Okay, what else?
Uh, and yeah, I mean, a house, right? Like, I mean, I'm currently living in a little apartment and there's a lot of noise. Yeah, I'd like to go back to living in a house.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
That's the three things that pop. I'm going. I could go for my kids and stuff, but
Meg, what's the thriftiest thing that you do? What's like the most extreme?
got it, got it. Reusing napkins. Like, I mean, I have a bag of like napkins that were just used once. Like, what am I going to do with these napkins? You know, my kids will spill something and I'll be like, wait, I have a bag of napkins that only got used once. Like, and, you know, my former used to say that. He'd be like, your efficiency is going to kill you. And I understand that. You know, I'm just trying to find the balance. And
You know what's funny? You ever hear people that are like criminals talk about how they like everything they do, like all the crooked stuff they do to make money, and it's like when you hear about all the rules that they break and all the effort that they put in to steal money, you go, if only you focused all of this energy and attention and intellect at making money the way that we do it, you know, like in getting a job, you would be hugely successful. You almost remind me the same way, not at all in being a criminal, but it's almost like you
but
seem to
getting
be putting so much energy and focus and intellect into being thrifty that it's like if you just sort of like went like
weak. Sure. Well, I think that's what I'm trying to do right now with, you know, I mean, I'm taking this base, right? This broth, this thing I like to do, and it's easy and thrifty to make. And then what other services, you know, do I have? I mean, you know, I like to talk, I like to listen. So, like, and I love having awkward conversations. So, you know, let's talk about the, you know, that I don't understand money. Let's talk about that you don't understand sex. Let's talk about that he doesn't understand, you know, let's just dive into anything and everything that's a little bit uncomfortable. And it's easier, you know, sometimes to chat when you're doing something.
I
Yeah.
see.
So I don't know. I want to figure it out for all of us, you know? I mean, it's just did you ever read John McKnight like The Abundant Community?
Mm-mm.
It's just, I mean, you know, he goes fishing and goes into a tack store and he's like, where do I buy the worms? And the guy says, go outside and lift up a rock. Come on. You know, I mean, it's just, it's there. It's there. And I'm, that's the balance I'm just trying to find. You know, I think we, two steps forward, three steps back. I think we've gone really far with money and material. And I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have its purpose here, right? I want to know what it is too. I want to raise my kids to, you know, have a better relationship with it, but I want them to know the balance, that it's not everything. And I want me to know the balance that, you know, it's something.
So two things here. Well, first of all, do I have your permission to share this conversation on the podcast and online?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. And then this feels like a the perfect question for you in particular. I always ask it, but I would love to know your creature comforts.
Things that comfort me.
Yes, but and I would love to hear them all, but I would also love to hear like a product or a an object or something like that, maybe if you have one.
A, a product or object. Because, you know, I have my kitten. That's what I went for.
Oh, right, the kitten, right. Well, I guess people do them a lot of ways. You know, I had one guy say, you know, I'm never that far from a cup of coffee. I think that works as a creature comfort. I do think that if I was to look up a definition for creature comfort, I do think that they are talking more about like an object or uh like a product, something that you use on a regular basis that is like really good for you or really good at maybe like calming you down or making you feel like yourself or something like that.
This doesn't relate anything to this conversation, really, but I would say, I mean, I guess no. It kind of, I mean, is would a bath work?
Yeah, I think a bath works.
I'm never too far from a bath.
Meg, was there anything else that you wanted to share today?
Just that personal. investigation is a passion, right? I love talking. I love that you're doing this. And yeah, I think more people should open up about what they don't understand, what they're scared of, or what they're trying to do. Because
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, I wear my vulnerability on my sleeve," and I think I am currently wearing a bodysuit of it because I mean, I'm just saying it. I don't get this. I don't understand that. Let's talk about this. So yeah, let's keep investigating.
A big thanks to Meg for her story today. I hope you guys enjoyed that and got as much out of it as I did. If you want to support Meg's business, it is called Broth for All, and you can find it at brothall.com. And if you are enjoying this kind of conversation with strangers, I really am, I hope you will subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications because I've got new episodes coming out every Monday. Here's the homework just for me. You can listen along if you want. Get an idea of the kind of earth monster that you want to be. Figure it out. Get an idea and hang on to it tight, like a dog with a bone. Think it, feed it, do it. We will be back next week with more epic, everyday stories of success and redemption. You'll see me next time.